If we had to compile and install all of the software on our Ubuntu systems, it would be a painstaking task. Although 20 years ago, it was pretty close to this reality in Linux. Luckily today, we have package managers like APT, which stands for Advanced Packaging Tool, that can manage our software installs, including installing the libraries our software depends on automatically. In this video, I'll cover the must-know basics of APT. So first, we want to get to the command line, and we can do so by default in the Unity desktop by pressing Ctrl-Alt-T. That'll bring up our terminal, and we can run apt from here. So the first thing we want to do is run apt get update. But we also want to do this as root, so we can use sudo for superuser_do and put in our password. What this is doing is making sure the software versions in our local repository catalog is up to date with what's on our given servers. So all of the Ubuntu source servers. So it downloads our software sources from the latest lists. So it takes a few minutes to go through all of the packages and all the catalogs, updates our local package lists with the latest versions, and then when we do an upgrade, it can determine which software has updates and can download and install those updates. So after we do the update, so we did sudo apt get update, we can do sudo apt get upgrade. So update updates the catalog only, upgrade upgrades the individual packages of software. So I'm doing upgrade, it tells me which software has updates. So we'll upgrade this list of software and libraries here, and it gives some information. Do you wish to continue? Yes. It downloads and installs and updates our software. Should only take a few moments to go through and install. Then once we install these new versions, what I'd like to do is remove any libraries or software that's no longer required, because sometimes new versions of software don't require or drop libraries from their system. So we can do sudo apt get auto remove. So it removes any software that's no longer needed. So it tells us some software here that's no longer needed in our system. Hit yes, and it will remove that old software. Now, auto remove just removes old dependencies. There's another software called auto clean, or another feature, so sudo apt get. So the auto clean function or feature will remove files from software that's no longer installed on the system. So this software is no longer installed, so it can safely remove it. Now, I've just run 4 commands to do an upgrade and kind of a cleaning process. You may want to put this all into one command. So if I just arrow up back to my update, so the first thing I want to do is update to make sure I have the latest versions. Then I want to do upgrade. So this double ampersand is chaining these bash commands together. So it's run this command, this first command. The double ampersand says if this one runs successfully, that only if it runs successfully, run this one. And then I want to do the next one. So the next one was auto remove. And finally, now you might want to put this into a single command or just tab back and run it. So these 4 commands are a nice way to keep our system up to date and keep our local files clean with no unneeded dependencies and no software files left on the system. So this will go through the whole process again. There shouldn't be any more updates because I've just updated the system, but you'll see it's running the update now. And shortly it'll run the upgrade, then the auto remove, then the auto clean. Oh, it tells me that there's some packages to remove. So this is auto remove, and then it's going to run auto clean. So that's the first thing on keeping our system up to date. But what if we want to install new software? Well, we could use sudo apt get install and then pick the software we want to install. Let's say I want to install Inkscape, the vector graphics editor. I just do sudo apt get Inkscape. It'll tell me what's going to be installed and the dependencies. So this is Inkscape and then all of its dependencies that are currently on the system. So we do yes. It will do the download and install. Apt Get install Inkscape. But what if I didn't know the name of the software? I knew I wanted to install Inkscape, but I wasn't sure if it was just install Inkscape or there was something else in the name. Something else I can do is apt-cache search Inkscape. This will search all of the software packages containing Inkscape in the name somewhere or in the description. So here it shows them all. There's some that I probably don't need, but it shows the first one here. The same thing goes if I wanted to search for Apache 2 for the web server. Now there's quite a few packages here. Probably not all of them apply. There's a bunch of libraries. So maybe I want to search for only Apache 2 to see if it exists. So it uses a regular expression syntax. So this is search for Apache 2 and nothing else. And here it finds it. So I could do apt-get install Apache 2 if I wanted to install the Apache web server. If I wanted anything that begins with Apache 2, I could just get rid of the $sign, and it will give me all the packages that start with Apache 2. So this is a nice way to search. And then finally, if you no longer need software, we could do apt-get remove. And in this case, I'm going to remove Inkscape, which I just installed. And it'll tell me what's going to be removed. And there our software is uninstalled. And finally, you can run apt-get moo for a nice little Easter egg. I'm not going to run it and spoil the surprise for you, but you can run this one on your own just to see this little Easter egg that's included in apt. And that concludes this video on apt, our Ubuntu Advanced Packaging tool.